Welcome to another explainer. Today we're unpacking something absolutely crucial, a truly compassionate roadmap built specifically for guys who are feeling stuck in disconnected, sexless relationships. We're talking about making that massive shift from defensive isolation to real, genuine emotional and physical intimacy. It's a complete game changer, and we're going to break down exactly how it works, step by step. Let's get into it.
Okay, so let's be real for a second. If you're in a relationship where intimacy has just hit a total wall, phrases like, "I don't care," or "leave me alone" probably sound painfully familiar, right? In a sexless relationship, that deep emotional pain doesn't always look like sadness. Often it masks itself as anger, indifference, or just completely checking out. It builds up this huge, impenetrable wall of silence. And then you get the resignation. What's the point? Nothing will change. The source material perfectly labels these as protective voices. See, we tell ourselves these things to shield against getting hurt or rejected again. But here's the catch. What they actually do is make that gap between you and your partner feel literally impossible to cross. It totally validates that very real, very heavy lived experience of just feeling isolated.
But here is where it gets interesting. Ronnie Burke, a certified sex therapist, created this incredible visual bridge to actually break that silence. It's called the voice model. And what I love about this is it proves that not only is it okay to feel, but there's immense power in understanding those feelings. It's essentially a map right out of the dark and back to your partner. So here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, we'll look at the wall of silence. Second, introducing the voice model. Third, doing the inner work. Fourth, taking outward action. And finally, number 5, the path to connection. Part 1, the wall of silence. Look at the stark contrast here between where we start and where we actually want to be. On one side, you've got this deeply ingrained human instinct to protect ourselves through reactive isolation. But on the flip side, the ultimate goal is to be truly present, intimate, and living in an actual partnership. Moving from that defensive posture to genuine connection, that takes a complete shift in how we operate.
Number 2, introducing the voice model.
Now, the big takeaway here is that VOICE is actually an acronym representing 5 sequential steps: vulnerability, ownership, identify needs, communicate, and engage. They're specifically designed to walk you step by step from naming those deeply buried emotions all the way to taking tangible, relationship-saving action. It's like a giant puzzle coming together. But hold on, before you take a single step forward, there is one absolutely vital anchor question at the very center of this journey. What am I really feeling? You've got to continually ask yourself this. I mean, it is literally the beating heart of the entire model. Section 3, doing the inner work. All right, let's break down the acronym. The V stands for vulnerability. Now let's get one thing straight. This does not mean being weak, not at all. According to Burke's model, vulnerability simply means giving yourself permission to peel back that top layer of anger, frustration, or silence and actually look at what's underneath. It's about letting yourself genuinely feel. Because when you finally drop that "I can handle it myself" or "I don't care" attitude, you start spotting these raw underlying feelings. You might uncover profound loneliness, some shame, maybe deep fear, longing, or just a piercing sense of rejection. Naming these exact emotions, that is your very first step out of the silence. And once you name them, you move right to O for ownership. This is huge. Ownership means taking absolute 100% responsibility for those feelings. You observe your experience and you own it, completely independent of whatever your partner is doing. You stop pointing fingers and you start looking inward. Just look at the powerful contrast here. A defensive, protective shield sounds like "I'm done" or "just leave me alone," right? We've all been there. But an honest ownership statement, that sounds more like "I feel invisible, disconnected, and unwanted." One immediately slams the door shut, while the other actually opens a window to what's really going on. So that brings us to the final piece of this internal work, the I, which stands for identify needs. You've uncovered the painful feeling, you own it, but now you have to figure out what your heart and mind actually require to heal that pain. You got to ask yourself, what is the unmet need that's driving all this frustration? Because you see, when you strip away all the defenses and the ego, these fundamental human needs start to emerge. The need to matter, to be chosen, the need to feel desired and connected, the craving for emotional safety, understanding, and physical touch. Listen, these aren't weaknesses. These are profound, highly valid, and deeply human needs.
Moving on to Section 4, taking outward action.
All right, now we transition from the inner work to the outer work. The C stands for communicate. This is that absolutely critical phase where you speak clearly and you do it purely from your own personal experience. The secret sauce here? Absolute honesty and vulnerability, while firmly avoiding the trap of blaming your partner for your unmet needs.
So, how do we actually pull this off? Well, you bravely share how you feel. You get incredibly clear about what you need. You make specific, actionable requests. And honestly, this next part is just as important. You listen to your partner with genuine curiosity. You stay respectful and kind, even when it feels totally terrifying to put yourself out there. Which brings us to the final letter, E for engage. This is about moving way beyond just having good intentions or saying the right words. Engagement means taking concrete, physical, and emotional actions out in the real world. Actions that actively build a bridge of emotional safety right back to your partner. Engaging means you are the one stepping up to actively initiate those tough conversations. You force yourself to stay present when your every instinct is screaming at you to flee. You physically reach out. You consciously choose to respond thoughtfully instead of just reflexively snapping back in anger. You're doing the hard, necessary work of repair.
And finally, Section 5, the path to connection.
So what's the payoff? When that silence is finally broken and you push through the difficult emotional work, these are the incredible outcomes you actually get to create. You aren't just waiting around for them to magically happen. You are building them. We're talking real connection, deep intimacy, restored trust, mutual understanding, a true partnership, and lasting emotional safety. Look, the journey from a silent, totally disconnected relationship to one of deep intimacy requires an incredible amount of courage, but it is absolutely possible. So I want to leave you with this thought today. Are you ready to finally step out from behind that wall? Take a deep breath, look inward, and really ask yourself, what are you feeling right now? Keep exploring that, and I'll see you in the next explainer.